So for me, entrepreneurship is kind of a lonely road. You're doing things on your own. You've got nobody telling you you're doing a great job. You have nobody telling you if you're doing it wrong. You kind of have to find out, and there's a price tag to that.
Business is business, take it back to the basics. Multi-million cash, the feeling's amazing. Got a Porsche inside my stable, don't horse with me, baby. 20 plus in my field, I'm like Co with the Lakers. It's like I'm touring the Sprinter, doing these road trips 3 days. Close for more M's, I stay on it. When you step on the premise, just know I own this. Collaborate inside of my district, is for the owners. They can't do in the pun, it's the true 101. How I conduct business, you just might learn, you son.
Hello, everyone. We're back with another episode of the Collab District podcast. Today, I have a very special host, the first lady, first woman of the podcast, Miss Anyssa Cisneros, owner of Nysa Co, and a woman out here in the entrepreneur game just blazing the trail. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And I like that intro, the first lady. How exciting.
Yeah, I was telling Charles that we definitely have to get more women on the show. There's a lot of women out here that are just doing amazing things in the entrepreneur and the community in general. And you'll be the first of our women series because, like I said, there's just a lot of women out here just doing amazing things. And
amen, sir.
Yourself being one of them. I like to start with just kind of getting to know more about like your childhood, your upbringing. You know, are you from the area? You know, did you come from the school, two-parent household? What's kind of like your religion and, you know, how you grew up?
Yeah, no. Oh my gosh, I love this question. And I feel like I've been talking about this more and more as I get older. Because you meet so many people and you realize like, oh, wow, like I grew up so fortunate, so fortunate. I have 2 sisters, a mom, dad, no boys. We were a house full of girls. And I grew up north, like Central Valley, like a very small like cow town, we call it, Visalia.
Okay.
So I grew up in a small town and I'm super close with my family, really, really close. My parents were very involved growing up. And I'd have to say my childhood is probably what I owe a lot of my success to today. Like you didn't realize that when I was younger, that as you get older, you know, you find that the way you treat people, the way you are in business, you know, the way you are in life, you know, is a lot of how you were raised. So I do owe a lot of credit back to my parents and my family for just instilling that respect in me.
That's amazing. And that closeness that you're talking about with your family, like, how does that develop into your career today? Like you said, as far as like how you deal with people, you know, customers, clients, you know, coworkers, partners, did that play a role in like how you understand on how to work and deal with people?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I am a God-fearing woman. I come from generations of God-fearing women. And my mom always taught me, you treat people how God treats you. So it was always super important for me that dealing with anybody, whether it be personal, professional, in and outside of the office, that I treat everybody with respect, always take the high road. And at the end of the day, always be ethical. So it's super, super important to me, and it did play a big, big role.
And like growing up in high school or college, or basically high school, were you into like the school thing? Were you like are you more social? Did you grow up playing any kind of sports or doing any activities?
I will say I do not have one athletic bone in my body,
Okay.
And everybody will tell you that. But I was a dancer, so I danced for many, many years at a dance studio and then for my high school dance team. And I was very involved in school. I was a part of ASB. I was our senior class vice president.
Okay.
You know, I'm that girl. But that's about it. No sports for me. I was on the swim team.
Okay.
And ended up getting kicked off, me and my friends, for doing underwater yoga instead of swimming. So sports were just never my thing. I am very social. I like to be around people. So anything that was like having to do with that was right up my alley.
Got you. And after high school, you attended FITM. And how was that college experience? leaving a small town and then going to college, like how did that transition work for you?
I was ready. I was so ready to move out. So I actually got accepted to FITM my junior year in high school. So by the time I got into my senior year, I already knew where I was going to go. And I moved out down to downtown LA from this small town 1 month after I graduated and started in the summer. And it was crazy. It wasn't your typical college experience. I went to school with mostly girls, and it was a private fashion college. So, while other of my friends were living in dorms, I had this like luxury apartment in downtown LA. So it was quite the experience. It was so much fun. I met some of my best friends for life there, and I got a 4-year degree in 3 years, going to school year round. So it was madness, but I wouldn't take it back for the world.
I also have a daughter in college right now, and I go back and forth on college. I didn't go to school, but I've had my own level of success, and there are people who take the college route. But what I tell my daughter is that the relationships that and the experiences that she's gathering, at this institution that she's going to are just invaluable. And like I just heard you talk about, like you met some of your best friends there, and that you hold relationships to with today. So can you talk more about like, that college experience and creating those relationships that you use today?
Yeah, so it's so crazy. Through those relationships, I got an insane job at the time. So at the time, our group of friends, one of them was working for Kris Jenner and approached me and said that Kim was looking for somebody like an intern. Fast forward a few years, I ended up going on to be her personal assistant for 3 years, which opened up so many doors for me. It's just like college is, I think a lot of kids think of like college as like, oh my gosh, it's just more school. And yes, it is, and for a purpose, but there's so much networking that happens, and you have no idea like who you're going to meet from where and what opportunities that they can open for you. So I wouldn't take it back for the world. And I think if I could give anybody any advice, it would be to network, like be the social butterfly, go to all the things, do all the internships, and just get to know people, get to know what they're doing, get to know who they work for, and you never know what could happen for you.
And after school, you talked about now you've started to intern and take opportunities working with celebrities and high-profile celebrities, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can't talk about a lot of that stuff here.
That confidentiality agreement is very expensive.
And the way my insurance works is we can't afford that.
Yeah.
But can you talk about just that experience on working with high-level people? Because I'm sure that comes with its own level of expectations that you probably put on yourself, and that you have to meet this high demand.
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up, my grandparents always told me, you can have anything you want in this world. You just have to be willing to work really fucking hard for it. And working for Kim at the time, she owned so many businesses. She was a mogul. Like there was so much to learn from her. And it really instilled that, like, you can truly have anything you want. You just have to work really, really hard. And so that's what she did. And I think I gained a lot of my work ethic from the family. I mean, people always have bad things to talk about them, but as somebody that has seen the inside, like the work ethic is really unmatched.
Yeah.
Like, the creativity, the work ethic is really unmatched. And it's something that was instilled in me there. And I think I took and ran with that, because it's like, okay, here you have a woman that, works really, really hard, runs so many different businesses. And it's a lot. And works all the time. But look at what she has to show for it, know? So it just kind of instilled that work ethic of like, you can truly have anything you want in this world. You just have to be willing to grind.
You have to be willing to grind. And were any of your parents entrepreneurs or family members, or being around Kim was your first taste of like being around someone that was entrepreneur? Because for me, I worked in the family business. I'm a third generation construction, but I always kind of like had a hustle in me. But I didn't know what to do with that ambition into me until I got around someone that looked like me, where it became obtainable.
Yes.
And when you can touch something, it just did something different, right? When you're around this success or this person that's moving in these amazing
shaking,
directions.
yeah.
And did that become attainable through that, or did you have that instilled through family?
I think if you'd ask my mom, she would tell you I've always been very ambitious. Like, I've always wanted something outside of the norm. I've always wanted to be like more than what, the box said I should be. And I had this whole fascination with like being so perfect and doing things so perfectly.
Yeah.
But so I already kind of had that. And then I think being in that world kind of took it to another level, whereas like, okay, anything's a possibility. Like, you can create something out of nothing, like the ideas flow. So I think both. Like, I learned a lot through her, but I also had a lot of that in me as well.
From the values.
Yeah.
So how do you tame your ambition when you're young, right? Because when you're young and you're ambitious, I've been there,
Yeah.
you want everything right then and fast, but like there's a
Yeah.
process to success. There's a process. You have to fail sometimes. You have to, there's trial and error, right? So how did you tame your ambitions until you knew the time was right to go out on your own and start your own thing?
Yeah, I think that was really hard. It was so hard for me to fail when I was younger. Like, I'd get a bad grade and it was the end of the world for me. And it's not until I got older that I learned, like, there is so much power in failure. Like, you really do learn so much. I mean, even now to this day, I'm like, okay, if I failed, at least I knew I tried and I learned something.
Right.
So I knew what not to do, and at least I'm doing it,
Correct.
So I think then I used to fear failure, and now I kind of embrace it because at least I know, you never know unless you try, right? So at least I know that I tried my best and did my all, and something does work out.
Yeah.
And you learn things along the way. So
Yeah, that's the biggest part is the learning process,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're in this entrepreneurship journey and you're not willing to take risk, number one, and then number two, be able to fail and then able to like self-evaluate yourself to
Absolutely.
take the lessons from that,
Yeah.
then you'll stay stagnant, right? You'll never grow because those failures prepare you for the next failures because
Absolutely.
they don't really stop,
yeah.
right?
And you learn something.
You learn
I
something
mean,
every
like,
time.
knowledge is power.
Yes,
truly.
truly.
And you learn so much out of what didn't work and why it didn't. And you just, like you said, reevaluate and move on. But you got to keep moving on. Like, failure is always going to be a part of life.
Correct.
You can't stay stuck there. Like, I always say, you got to go through the valley to get to the hills. Like,
Absolutely.
you absolutely do.
And it's a constant peak and valley, right?
Yes.
Like when you sign up for this journey, you have to understand that it's a constant peak and valley.
Yeah.
Also, between the time when you worked for Kim and starting your own, did you have any other work experience or internships?
Yes, I did. So when I graduated college, I had this, like, I wanted to work for corporate. Like, I was like, okay, it's time to be a corporate girl,
Did you get that from college? Do you think that you got that from college? Is that?
I think it was just like that was the trajectory. Like,
Yeah.
you go to college, you do internships, and you get a great job, and you're making all this money, And so that was what I wanted. So I remember even going through a hard time when I was with Kim, like, oh my gosh, like, where should I work? I graduated college, and it was like, oh my gosh, like, I need to find a job right now. And it was so heavy on me that even like her executive assistant was like, girl, you are so young. Like, you're okay. Like,
Slow
you're doing
down. You
great.
got
Slow
time.
down. Yeah. And I was like, no, I need it right now. But through Kim, she had started her cosmetic line with a company out here in Oxnard called Seed Beauty. And Kylie was doing her cosmetic line out here as well at the time. And just through that, I got in touch with the owners of that company, went on to work for Seed Beauty, which is like an extremely fascinating vertically integrated manufacturing for cosmetics. And I started there as the personal assistant or the executive assistant to the owners of the company, and then moved on to running New Launch and dabbling into some marketing. So it was amazing experience. After that, I left there, and at the time, started my own company with my then husband and our family, and ran that for a while. We had a company then, and then that was when I kind of decided, to go off on my own and do my own thing and see what the world has for Anyssa herself,
And that decision there is different for everyone, right?
Yes.
When it's time to go out on your own, leave your comfort zone, whether it's financially, whether it's, a stable job or a stable schedule, or if you're just, a home giver and then you're going to step out of your comfort zone and start a business. Like, how did you know your time was right?
I had a lot of convincing. One of my really good friends, he's an incredible entrepreneur as well. And I learned so much from him. And he was the one who was like, you're not made for the 9 to 5. Like, you're made to do things on your own. And I think I was so afraid. And then once you just make the leap and do it, there then is this shift in you that like, failure may happen, but not succeeding is not an option. Like, you got to grind. Where there's a will, there's a way, and never take no for an answer. Like, you will find a yes somewhere. And everyone always says, like, oh, like, you work for your own. How cool. It's like, oh, no. You, like, stop working the 9 to 5 to start working 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
So
we're 24/7 employees. That's
absolutely. I mean, it's like, your phone goes off at 10 and, there I am talking to China, Like, it doesn't matter what time. So, but yeah, no, I wouldn't change it for the world. I feel like what I like most is the freedom to create anything that I want. And like, at the end of the day, I love what I do, and I love doing it, and I think it just makes me wake up so much more exciting. So then it's like, okay, and I think when you have that, the money then comes, all the success and the money comes, and it'll naturally flow, and it'll feel good, versus forcing yourself to work for someone or somewhere that just for the paycheck.
Well, if you would work 40 hours, 50 hours for someone else, why wouldn't you do it for yourself?
Right.
When you have that ambition in you.
Yes.
And you talked about having a fear. I had a fear of, starting my own construction business. I was like 24 at the time, and that was that's kind of unprecedented for, my industry.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of family support that, encouraged me and gave me the confidence to overcome that fear. What was your process of overcoming the fear or that support group that you had?
I just kind of thought, like, what's the worst that could happen? I've got a great resume. If I needed to get a job, like, I'm sure I could get a job somewhere. But what's the worst that can happen? You never know unless you try. So, like, give it a go and give it your all. And then it was from there that kind of put this, spirit in me of, like, I can never go back to working for somebody else again. Like, I love working for myself and love being able to create my own and do things I want to, not the corporate way, which is important for me too, because I think that's one of the advantages of being an entrepreneur is you're able to flip the script. Like, you're able to set the precedents for how you want your company to be ran.
Correct.
And for me, ethics and character are so important. So it was like, when you're in the corporate world, you see so much that you're like, oh, I would never treat people like that. I would never do things. I would never do that. I would never do this. And now it's like, okay, this is yours. Now you can not do things and do things a better way, So, but I've learned so much along the way, so much working for other companies as well.
It sounds like you've had the best of both worlds, meaning that you've got the opportunity to go to school and get the great book knowledge and all the experience that college has. And then right after school, you were able to get this incredible, work experience that, books can't teach you for the work experience. But when you put both of them together, it helps you aid when you're a young entrepreneur because a lot of people don't give you your respect when you're young because the experience level, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you started Nysa Co, like, what was the mission? Talk about, like, what is Nysa Co? What was the mission, and how do you serve your clients?
Yeah, so amazing question. I had stepped out of our other company because I wanted to pursue a career in real estate. Okay. So I went to school for real estate, and realtors know, like, it's a long process. It's a lengthy process. So in the meantime, I was like, all right, well, what should I do in the meantime? And, I had a lot of clients and friends and other entrepreneurs coming to me, like, needing help with certain aspects of their business or whatever it may be. So then I was like, well, I guess I'll just start my own. Like, I'll start my own project management company. I'm really good at that. And so that's kind of how it started. And then from there, it just, like, took off. And I found a whole new love for what I do and why. Because at the end of the day, Nysa Co is a project management agency I specialize normally on white label and private label, meaning for those who don't know what white label, private label is I have a lot of factories overseas and some local that I can help get pretty much anything you want branded for your company. I just did a private label cut and sew clothing line, like a Mommy and Me clothing line for a friend. I've also done T-shirts for people, but I think the one thing that you can't take away is I'm helping people level up their business and I'm giving them something that's theirs. And at the end of the day, that's what makes me feel good. That's why I do what I do, is because when you see an entrepreneur even get shirts with their name on it, it's so official for them. And it just like, you could see it in their face and, that gets them so excited. So that for me is like everything, is being able to help other companies succeed as well. So,
and you, in your scope is where you can take something where a client can come to you with an idea and you will take it all the way to a product, or so you're able to fill in the space for people who like don't have the right connections, or the cost is too high to do things locally. Like you're their coordinator manager.
Absolutely, because I used to run my own private label clothing line, and I made thousands of dollars in mistakes, and you learn, you learn from experience.
$1,000 in mistakes, I might have to steal that one.
I made thousands of dollars in mistakes, and it's just like, wow, when you're dealing with factories overseas, there's certain, like, not only is there a language barrier, but there's certain language when talking about certain things, and there's certain negotiating tactics that you can use that I've learned over the years, and that can get so time consuming for somebody focusing on other aspects of their business. So, why not hire me to come in and help you get all that stuff? So you're just telling me, hey, Anyssa, I want, leggings with my, company on them. I want sweaters that are this material with my company on them. I do all the grunt work and the back work, and you end up with product in your hands. Like, and not only that, those serve as marketing tools and give your business a little more validation, give you a little more validation to have something with your name on it.
Yeah, when you can touch it, feel it, smell it, give it out, see other people wearing it, it becomes real. It's like, it gives you that extra
I always say
motivation.
I help people level up their business, because it's like when you get to that point, you're like, okay, like I'm promoting this, like this is big time now. So
and working with companies overseas, I've have a very small experience working with companies overseas, and I failed at trying to do a little side hustle with some overseas business because it was a language barrier. I didn't understand the customs and just all the nuances that
shipping and everything.
Everything, right?
Customs, I don't think anybody will ever understand. Sometimes I'm like, you just have to like step away and pray.
And so how do you navigate, that international, market to deliver for your clients here stateside?
I ask a lot of questions, and I get very detailed in the way that I set up projects for my customer and for my factories is very detailed, because it's like I will make sure I cross all my T's, dot all my I's, especially when somebody is coming to me and there's like a $30,000 project on the table, like they're investing a lot of money into this, so I need to make sure that they get what they ask for. So it's just kind of doing a lot of your due diligence, like ask all the questions, make sure of everything, and you do still learn things along the way. But I try to make sure everything is laid out, cleaned up before, taking their money and handing it over here. So,
and what are just some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in business so far? I mean, you talked about, you're working with different clients, you're working with international. You went through your own life changes. Like, what have some of those challenges been that you've had to overcome?
I think the biggest challenge for me is that I'm such a people person. Like, you can ask, like, my boyfriend, and he will tell you, you are like an over extrovert. He's like, you always have to be around people. Like, there's normal people, and then there's you who's over here like talking to strangers. So for me, entrepreneurship is kind of a lonely road. Like, you're doing things on your own. You've got nobody telling you you're doing a great job. You have nobody telling you if you're doing it wrong. You kind of have to find out, and there's a price tag to that. So for me, how I overcame that was getting involved, with other women. And I've met this insane group of women that I have so much in common with. They're all God-fearing women. They're all beautiful. They're all entrepreneurs. They're just like amazing humans to the core. And it's just finding that community to lean on. I mean, even like you guys here, I know, shout out to Nayeli, your beautiful fiance, another amazing woman who, it's just nice to have somebody that understands what you go through and can share that with you, even if you guys are working in separate companies. And also at the same time, come together and collaborate on things, Networking is everything to me, and being a part of a community is too. So I think that was the biggest challenge, but, you just got to make more friends, and I'm down to make friends everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'm the opposite. I'm anti-show.
She told me that.
Yeah, I'm like in the corner. Like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want the attention. But, I'm learning to come out of my shell.
Yeah.
Like, she definitely brings that part out of me. She's very social. She's like you. She can go talk to anyone and engage in a conversation. And I'm like, who are you talking to?
Yeah. You're like, I just met them.
but it's open. But she's opened doors for me, and kind of softened me up to being open to like being more social, and hence I'm doing a podcast, right?
Yeah, look at you. I was like, for someone who doesn't,
Yeah, that's, so again, another shout out to my fiance, Nayeli, but it leads me into my next question, that you work a lot with the Women Empowerment Expo.
Yes.
And talk about what that is for our women out there, entrepreneurs, but also like expound more on just being a part of a network, because I'm the same way, like, part of the Collab District was created so people can connect, collaborate, share resources for one another's success.
Yes.
But you have to have a strong network, because like you said, when you're an owner, you don't have people to tell you're doing a good job. No one's coming to you saying, hey, here's a review, here's a raise, or like, you have to stay self-motivated, and you have to surround yourself with an environment of people that can keep you straight, keep you motivated, and that you can bounce off ideas with that they can relate to similarly.
Yeah. No, the Women's Empowerment is run by one of my really, really good friends, Christina Brophy. And she's the one who actually was like, I think in January, like, do something on your own. Start your own company. Like, I'm going to call you next week. You better start your own company. And then my boyfriend was like, hey, we're going to get your LLC started right now. And I'm like, oh, what? Like, maybe tomorrow. He's like, no, we have time. Like, we got time to do it right now. We're going to do it right now. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. But Christina runs an insane, and the Women's Empowerment Network is truly amazing. The women I've met through there have been absolutely incredible. And the beautiful thing about it is that you come together with all of these super high power, ambitious women, but with a humble heart. Everybody is so welcoming. Everybody is like open arms all the time, always willing to help, always willing to be like, oh, okay, I can help you here, help you there, come together. And it's just such a good time. And it's so incredible to be a part of an organization like that, because it's so rare. Yeah. It's so rare to like be able to walk into a group of women and not feel like you're being talked about.
Or just like-minded, right?
Yeah, total like-minded women.
And I guess for women too, walking into a room full of another successful women could sometimes be intimidating, or you don't want to be judged, or we all have our own insecurities, right?
Absolutely.
But can you talk about like the confidence that this group has given you, the relationships and the opportunities? Because I've heard of this group. You guys have invited us to a group event that you guys did with the Clippers, and it's not just a small group. This is a large organization, a large network.
Of women. Yeah, no. It is a bunch of like high power women coming together. And when women come together to support and uplift other women, like the world can change, like things totally change, because at the end of the day, like that's the foundation, especially in a home too. The foundation is the woman, and this love and this care. And you have so many of those women who are coming together to like uplift one another, help one another. It gives you all the confidence in the world, and it makes you feel good about yourself and what you're doing outside of like, your family home. It makes you feel like you have somebody to support and lean on who is like-minded and does believe in the same things that you do. So it's been absolutely incredible, and it's opened so many doors for me. And I've met so many, again, of some of my very best friends. So I couldn't be more grateful for the network and, everything that Christina and the whole gang has brought me.
So you have Nysa Co. You're involved with the Women Empowerment Expo. You talked about having a boyfriend. I struggle with time management at times. How do you balance everything and still find time to be sane?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I will be honest, I'm still learning because it's like, I'm trying to run my own company. I have, a family and a home, and then, focusing on myself and my health and trying to squeeze in a workout anytime I can. And then I've got like my clients that I'm servicing all the time too, and being ready, available for them. And then, I finally am embarking on this real estate career because I'm like, okay, I'm not letting that go. Like,
so you just added something else to the plate,
I'm a
right?
big believer in like you finish what you started, you know? So, and I do have a passion for it. So I'm like wanting to do all things. So the minute I passed my real estate exam, I was like, okay, maybe I can go to law school now. Maybe the bar exam is next, I'm always looking for like something more to do. But so I'm still trying to find the balance, and I'm sure there'll be times where, I may fail at it, but we're working on it and we're figuring it out. Yeah. And I have an amazing support system. My clients are absolutely amazing and incredible. I have an amazing support system at home, and my family's great too. So I think with all the support, it makes you feel like, okay, like you're not doing it alone. You've got community, you've got family, you've got people, and especially at home, because I have 2 stepkids too that I'm very involved with. It's good to have a partner that helps pick up, where you lack and vice versa. Because it's,
absolutely.
Everyone always says it's like 50-50. Well, it's not, it should be 100, it's 100, putting all you're in. But sometimes, you guys need to help each other out. And so I'm really, really blessed to have that at home.
Yeah. Having the support environment is great to balance, to help you balance, because again, like you talked about, we get unbalanced. Our clients have needs or demands that may require some sacrifice at home or over here. And if you don't have those people that around you that are understanding that you're on this journey, and sometimes it may pull you away, not because you don't want to be there, but because this is what, we've all decided that we're going to support and do. Like, it makes it harder when you don't have that and you're like fighting against that and you're trying to run a business. Like,
oh my gosh.
I've been through that situation, and it makes it so much harder. So when it's the opposite, like even when you get on balance, you just feel like you always have that safe place to go to like level yourself and like get back on balance.
And a good partner can really help you level up. Like someone who's like, no, go do it. Like, this is going to be for you. Like, you need to do it. You need to do this. Like somebody who also pushes you to like go outside your comfort zone and be a better version of yourself. Like it's everything. It really, really is. Absolutely.
Besides, working out or, self-care, what other things do you do personally to keep you balanced and like kind of grounded? For
me, it's my faith. Like I am 110% a God-fearing woman. My faith is super important to me. So I will never miss church. Even if I'm watching it online, I will never miss church. That for me is like a soul refresh. And I try to read my Bible every day. I try to do some devotion every single day. I think it's really important to me to stay grounded. And at the same time, there's so much that happens on the outside in business and family and in the world that like I just need something to come back to and ground me and remind me of like the human that I want to be at the end of the day, and that is the Lord himself, that's my man. I spend time with him every day.
Love it. I love it. Being faith based, does that affect your decisions sometimes in business? Because I'm also faith-based. I wouldn't say at the time I'm as devoted as you. I need to get back to that point. But my faith has been tested at times, right? Because circumstances happen. You're like, well, wait a minute, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Or, decisions you make, and like I'm going to make decisions that are morally right, not profitably or, because I think about people, right? And I affect, because our decisions our positions affect people.
Absolutely.
And so does your faith ever get tested in this business world?
Yes, but I also think it's helped me so much. Like it really, really has. Like I always say, like you have no control over how somebody may come at you or what other people are doing in their lives or what they try to bring into yours, you know? But what you do control is what, you know, the boundaries that you set and how you react to it. So I always say, like, and believe me, like I feel sometimes like I'm like tested. And for me, it's always like picking up the phone and calling my mom and being like, I just need to vent for 5 seconds, no judgment. And then she'll be like, okay, like, you know, how do you think you should act? You know, how do you think you should react? And I'm like, well, I think God would want me to react in this way, you know? And she's like, then do that, because how you act is how people will start to look at you. You know, how you treat others is how people will start to treat you.
Absolutely.
And you never, ever want to come in a place where you're like, oh, I'm so embarrassed for the way I acted. I'm so embarrassed that I said that, you know? And she always has told us from a very young age, you treat people how God treats you. So I feel like I remind myself of that all the time. Even if somebody isn't great to me, I'm still going to be nice to you because that's a reflection of me and who I am,
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah.
So I think that's what it is. And I always say, if you need a minute, step away and pray. Because, you know, people will try to test you sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's the say, what's the saying? Man, you're going to cause me to lose my religion in here sometimes.
Oh, my gosh.
So what's next for yourself, not only personally, but for Nysa Co? Any other collaborations to be on the lookout for? Events? You also do event planning. Like, so what's next for yourself?
Oh my gosh. Oh, so much. So I feel like when everyone starts to slow down during the holidays, I was talking to my boyfriend and I was like, I feel like I'm like running at 200 miles per hour right now, you know, just trying to get everything up off the ground or everything in place. So for Nysa, it's just expanding I've been so blessed with the doors that have opened and the clients that have trusted me, that I'm starting to have an overload of workflow and I'm going to need help. So for me, it's expanding the Nysa team to be able to offer my clients even more and be able to take on even more. And then, like I said, I got my real estate license maybe about 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And I got an insane opportunity to be mentored under Elena Cardone's team
Oh, wow.
at EXP. So I am so excited. We're going to be starting a little subgroup out of that as well. So there's super, super big things to come with that. So I'm just excited and I'm ready to dive in. And I'm so grateful for the opportunities that have literally been put in my lap. I couldn't be more blessed.
Yeah, I really enjoy your gratitude, because there's a lot of times like we lose sight of being humble and being grateful for the things that we don't feel we deserve, but God knows that we do, right?
Yeah.
And it's refreshing to like, you know, to see someone with a high level of success, but also like grounded and like have that humbleness and that gratitude. And then like you're still hungry. Like you're like, what's next? What can I grab? What can I grab next?
Absolutely. And I think gratitude is everything.
Yeah.
You know, like all glory to God for all the things that you have. Like I always say that, you know, I wouldn't have these things if it weren't for him. So it's my job to, do things ethically, do things the way he would want things to be done, be like, you know, this proud woman of God in everything that I do and the way that I treat people. And also at the same time, give back, you know. Not now, but, you know, eventually a dream of mine is to start a nonprofit giving back to kids. Me and my sisters want to. We grew up very, very fortunate. And we think part of that plays a role, like the way we were loved, you know, the opportunities that we had played a role in the women that we became today and the women that we're proud to be today. And we want to be able to give that same love and that same nurture back to other kids who maybe don't have that, who maybe weren't born in circumstances like we were fortunate enough to have. Yeah. So it is like I've got a lot of big dreams, and we're going to make them happen, you know, one step at a time here. Well,
that's like we share in that dream as far as the youth in the community, because like I call it your big audacious goal. Like if everything just happened the way that you wanted it to happen, you were successful, you had the money you needed, the financials, the partners, you know, all the resources you needed to make your big audacious goal happen. My big audacious goal is very similar to yours, meaning like I want to have a place for the youth to come, and not just in sports, but for everything. Whatever your passion is, whatever your God, because we all were given talents.
Yeah.
You can come to this facility and explore it, whether it's music, art, coding, management, sports. Like, it's there. You can come and explore it. And what's crazy is like, what do we have? Like 10 guests so far? I think your guest 10 or 11. Ooh. Every guest has probably shared in that same goal. Like to do something.
Maybe we all have to collaborate and come up with, one huge facility. Because I think it really is. Children are our future. And it's like you won't have to course correct an adult if you just focus on the child. Correct. And like, children need love. Children need to know that like, somebody's always going to be there for you. They need the support. They need the community. Yes. And I feel like, it does. Coming from somebody who did have all of that growing up, who like, grew up, I never had to worry, about money or about, not having any love. It was like my mom always told us she loved us. My dad always told us, that he loved us. And, I grew up very close to my family, and that played a huge role. Yeah. And it does shape a child's life. And I'm like, if I could just give that back to one child, and make them know that like, whatever circumstances that they were born in doesn't have to depict their future, and they can be so much more, and give them that positive love and encouragement, then like, it's everything for me.
Yeah, hopefully we'll all collaborate on something. Yes. Something big for the community. We're all from the same area. We want to see the youth have a safe place, right? Yeah. To be whatever they aspire to be.
Absolutely.
Tell our audience, how can they find you on social media, online? How can they hire Nysa Co now for your private and labeling?
Yeah. So anything you want to get in touch with me about personally, whether it be real estate, Nysa, or just anything, any personal questions, you can reach me at Anyssa_Cisneros. That's my personal Instagram. And then my Nysa Instagram is Nysa_Co. I believe, right? That's it. Like, I think that's it. Like, I should probably check that. And you can shoot us an email there, and we'd be happy to help you with anything you need. And we're always looking to collaborate with other brands and other companies and people. So we're excited.
Well, I definitely appreciate your time. I think that's the most valuable thing that we have in life, because it's the one thing we don't get back. So thank you for coming on, sharing your time, sharing your story, being the first lady of the podcast. Hopefully you inspire not only other women, but other people in the community to just like jump out there and follow their passion and do it. So I appreciate your time, and thanks for coming into the show.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for having me. I feel so honored, and so honored to be the first lady. I love that.
Thanks again.
Absolutely.